Hey guys, thanks for watching today. I'm really thankful that we were able to convince Steve Badger to meet up with us for a couple minutes here at the Storm Restoration Summit here. And Steve, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here. Happy to be here just with you after an hour of grilling on stage there, huh?
You guys, it was a good conversation though. And I appreciate your willingness to come and speak to the industry on behalf of the industry. It's an honor, and it's good that the right things are done. That's the ultimate goal. I think we share a common interest in that the policyholder is our common friend that we want to make sure that they're taken care of, and that's just the balance, the way it works.
100% agree. I want my clients to pay claims fully and timely. There's just often a dispute as to what's fully and timely.
Well, I appreciate that, and we all do. And I wanted to specifically, though, just kind of bring you in here and have you share a little bit about what's going on in Louisiana, because there's some crazy stuff going on, probably above my head and my understanding as a contractor, and but it's clearly things that are going to affect our industry. And so having you come and just kind of speak a little bit on what's going on and what's changing down there, it's indicative of what potentially could change nationally. Mm-hmm. And so this is something that is going to affect our industry. So thank you for doing this, and yeah, let us know what's going on.
Yeah, so what's happening in Louisiana right now is the same thing that previously happened in Texas and more recently happened in Florida. Let's go back to Texas. In the early 2010s, beginning in 2012, we saw a huge proliferation of mass claim and mass lawsuit filings. There were people who call themselves entrepreneurs who said, if I can sign up thousands of clients and run them all through the process, I can make a lot of money. So that's what we saw in Texas, and in the 2015 legislative session and the 2017 legislative session, we had to address that, and we enacted reforms to bring an end to that. Now, during that period of time, there were some people who were doing it who got in a lot of trouble because they weren't doing it right. For example, there was an individual named Kent Livesay who was committing barratry and signing up hundreds of homeowners, and he went to prison for 4 years.
What is barratry?
Yeah, barratry is having anyone besides the lawyer in your law firm actually go out and hand out your fee agreements on your behalf and actually retain the client for you in exchange for some consideration.
Okay.
A lawyer cannot, this is basically the ambulance chaser. Mm-hmm. A lawyer cannot send somebody out, give them a bunch of blank fee agreements and say, if you've seen a car accident, sign that person up. Absolutely improper. All lawyers know the phrase barratry. You can't do it.
Okay.
So that's what was happening in Texas. It was happening with mass filing public adjusters. We enacted laws to stop it. Now, more recently, you've seen just what happened in Florida. Florida had a couple of lawyers who were filing thousands and thousands of lawsuits, either directly for insureds, mostly AOBs. Others got involved, and it got so bad that Florida had to enact legislation to stop it. Now in Louisiana, predictably, because there's hurricanes there, several in a short period of time, people are coming into that market and trying to replicate that mass filing model there. And as a result of that, we're seeing a couple of things happening. One, Louisiana has begun a special legislative session to address their insurance crisis. And now we're also seeing federal courts responding to some of these lawyers who have come in to do this and saying, wait a minute, what are you doing and how are you doing it and is it proper?
There's some other stuff in there too, though, where there's contractors involved as well, which is what I'm more concerned about is how would a contractor potentially become involved in a situation like this?
If the situation is signing up clients for lawsuits, signing up homeowners for lawsuits, they shouldn't. That should not be what's happening, right? I keep saying, contractors, stay in your lane, all right? Be a brick and mortar contractor and put on roofs. If there's a dispute, all right, tell the homeowner that you know a lawyer, right? But the allegations we're seeing about what happened in Louisiana with some contractors is that their role went far beyond that they were actually involved in engaging the homeowners on behalf of the lawyers through either an assignment of benefits or some other arrangement and bringing hundreds and hundreds of clients to a law firm. And the allegations right now in those matters are that perhaps some improper conduct occurred.
So in this cases of Texas or Florida where you were speaking that this happened years ago, what was the outcome of that?
Yeah, the outcome in Texas was that we eliminated the mass filing model. We eliminated the public adjuster who filed 3,000 claims, did no work, and just flipped them all to a lawyer. That was the model there. We got rid of that. That was the 2015 legislation. In 2017, we enacted the Hale Bill, where we enacted some reforms to make sure that some of the abuses of inflated estimates on the front end, suing independent adjusters for no real reason, other things, or filing lawsuits just to get attorney's fees, those were fixed. And as a result, we've greatly reduced the number of lawsuits, but the homeowner who is aggrieved by bad insurance company conduct still has a remedy.
And in those situations, how was the homeowner, though, negatively affected by this?
In those situations, often a lawyer would get involved in a matter, pursue a matter where really a lawyer wasn't necessary.
Okay.
Or at the end of the day, the lawyer charged a bunch of expenses and the homeowner just wanted 25 grand to replace their roof. And after all the money was taken away for lawyer expenses and lawyer fees, the homeowner was left with 8 grand and couldn't replace their roof. So there are a number of different things that contributed to the problem. Louisiana, this situation now in Louisiana has created a whole slew of issues that the federal judges who are addressing these issues now are obviously concerned about. How can a single law firm handle thousands of lawsuits? When you've got a half dozen lawyers, how do you handle several thousand, or 15,000 as they're talking about lawsuits? Federal judges are saying that's not possible. The law is a personal profession. Right? We are counselors. And if you never talk to your client, and if you're never learning what the damage is, if you're never going out and inspecting their damage, how are you a counselor? How are you fulfilling your ethical obligations to that client to understand what happened? And those are the concerns the federal courts are raising right now. Are there allegations of other possible improper conduct? Yeah, but those will come to light. So I think what's happening in Louisiana is that the federal judges are concerned, especially in the situation where the wrong insurance company was sued. Because now the statute of limitations has run. It's too late for that homeowner to sue the right insurance company, and those homeowners are damaged.
Yeah, that's obviously the worst case scenario that we'd like to see on both sides. I mean, people are people, and we all, we're trying to help people. I'm so outside of the realm of understanding on some of this stuff, but how often are federal judges involved in cases like this or in these types of situations?
Let me say it this way. What I've seen in the past few weeks in Louisiana from these judges, I've not seen before in my career.
Okay.
I've seen federal judges come down on lawyers in an individual case for not properly investigating the case, for not wearing socks to the courtroom, for not doing this or that. I see that. But for federal judges saying, I got a concern overall about what you're doing, that's rare. And I think it shows the significance of what's happening there.
Yeah, I agree. And so I'm curious to see what happens. I think as an industry, we should probably keep our hand on the pulse of this. And at the end of the day, what's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. And if there were things that were done improperly, I think we need to be aware of it and figure out ways that we can avoid this happening in the future.
Which is why I do all these speeches, right? I come in, I come to roofing conferences, and I invite people from the other side to my events. I keep saying dialogue is good.
Yeah.
And as I always begin when I speak at one of these, I want my insurance company clients to pay claims fully and timely. They should. That's their obligation under the contract and the law. The issue, though, becomes when others, besides the insurance company and the insured, inject themselves into the process, not to protect the insured from bad insurance company conduct, but for their own financial gain. And that's what we've seen in the past. That's what led to new legislation in Texas and now Florida. And whether those are lawyers, contractors, public adjusters, there are some bad apples in all of those that do this. Now, I'm not going to disparage policyholder attorneys or PAs or contractors as a whole. There's lots of good ones who do it right. And just like me, they want to make sure Mrs. Smith gets paid fully and timely. But there's some, and they're getting all the attention, whose motivations are different. And we need to have dialogue still to root that out. Just like I understand there's concerns about certain insurance companies right now in particular and how they're handling claims. I read what Chip Merlin blogs every day. I read, people send me things. I get that. If they were my clients, I would have a dialogue with them. The hot topic one right now that everyone's concerned about is not one of my clients. But if one of my clients was getting that type of attention, I'd fly out to their headquarters, I'd show them what's going on, and I'd say, let's fix this if there's really a problem.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And thank you, too, for posting on LinkedIn. That's how I learned about this. I think if you guys don't follow Steve on LinkedIn, you do a good job of keeping the industry informed from the level, and a lot of people don't, at least in our industry. We talked about this a little bit, but contractors like Facebook.
I'm not a Facebook guy.
But LinkedIn's a great resource, and you've done a great job. Thank you for being here, and thanks for talking. Let's talk soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.